Wargaming have hit us with a brand new AVRE, the tank that everybody definitely wanted in the game, and of course they've made another one, except this one is down at tier 7, and today we're going to cover all of the weekly update news for you guys so you don't have to do it yourself and you can probably just sit there and listen along if you're interested, or of course watch and have a look at some of the stuff that we'll be showcasing, including the tank itself in the video. So let's have a first look at this vehicle. Now it is the FV3903 Churchill VII AVRE. That's a mouthful for sure, but either way, the Churchill AVRE is essentially a kind of a Churchill with a derp gun, and we can have a look at the statistics of this tank, because much like the Centurion AVRE, which is the tier 10 vehicle that everyone's been complaining about and was super annoying, of course now they've done it at tier 7, which yeah, I don't know why, but okay. Essentially it is a 760 alpha damage vehicle with 600 on its kind of premium rounds. There are two different types of rounds. You've got a standard Hesh round and a premium Hesh round. The standard Hesh round has lower penetration but gets higher damage, hence the 120mm of standard pen and 760 damage. And then your premium round doesn't get a huge increase in penetration, but it is 165 or 155 even, apologies, with 600 damage. So 155 will go through most tanks at tier 7. However, 120 probably will find it a little bit difficult to go through some of the, I guess, more nuanced vehicles, things that have a little bit more armor, maybe have some spaced armor, stuff like that. And it will be primarily good for fighting against medium tanks and light tanks, since mediums and lights at tier 7 don't usually have a huge amount of hit points, alongside the tank destroyers that you can meet, which can basically be penned with either round, because yeah, paper tank destroyers gonna get clapped. But the more heavily armored tanks, you are gonna want to fire your premium kind of Hesh round. Now what they've done with this tank is made it super derpy, and my main problem with the whole high alpha damage tanks that they've been doing recently is not the fact that they're introducing high alpha damage tanks. It's the fact that when they do it, all that happens is people become lazy. They get super lazy when playing the game. All they do is auto aim. They then end up dealing 300 damage, 200, 300 damage anywhere on any vehicle as long as they hit. So they don't aim for weak points. No one learns how to do the weak points. And essentially it just becomes very lazy play. It removes partially some of the game mechanics because you don't have to aim for any weak points. And obviously if you do, you get more damage. So you should be aiming for weak points. But what I'm saying is that one of these could poke around the corner in a tier 7 matchup, deal 200, 300 damage, take no damage in return because it's only poked for half of a second, and then it can go back and then doesn't have to aim when it pokes around the corner again, another 200, 300 damage, which most medium tanks can't deal with. And of course it can actually pen as well, so you know, you never know, you might end up getting penned for 760, which is really good because we need more of these kind of derp cannons that can basically remove tanks from the game. Because when you're coming up against tier 5s, which is, you know, the new player range, you would want to get hit by 760 damage, removing you from the entirety of the game, because most tier 5 vehicles don't actually have 760 hit points. So, yeah, another really annoying change that I feel like has come out from the beginning of the year, starting off strong as we mean to go on, I guess. But yeah, it is disappointing that they did not listen to the community when they said that the Centurion AVRE was annoying, and so they bring in the Churchill AVRE, knowing full well that the Centurion AVRE was a big no-no from everyone. You'll hear it basically everywhere that this tank was not a good one, and so they do it again. It just seems like I don't know, it's just not ideal for what I see the game and the game's direction in what it should be going for, in trying to teach people how to play the tanks, and not just having, you know, high alpha damage tanks that are super derpy with 0.56 accuracy, which is horrible, although with loads of perks and stuff that you can put on it, it will be significantly better. But either way, aim timer 3.7 seconds, horrendous. So yeah, it's just a super derpy tank that is just going to be basically one of those where you just aim at center of mass of a vehicle and hope that you hit and deal 200 to 300 damage every single time that you hit. And occasionally you'll find a tank that's low enough armor that you can just pen it for full damage and yeah, have fun being the person that's trying to deal with one of these when it only pokes you and you only have 150 damage. Because the main problem is not the fact like, yeah, it's a derpy gun, blah blah blah. But the fact is, most tanks at this tier do not have 760 alpha damage. They don't even have 400 alpha damage. They typically have 240 pen, or 240 damage. And so, you know, even your splash does more damage than most of the tanks can do when they pen you. So, yeah, it's just one of those things that I don't feel like they need to introduce tanks like this, or certainly introduce them in this sort of way. Maybe there should be some kind of update to how they deal with Hesh rounds and splashing, because it is yeah, just super annoying. Or maybe just have given it, you know, the derpy look, but just reduced the damage and made it slightly more accurate, that sort of thing. Because having these super high alpha damage guns are just terrible in my opinion. Yeah, the tank does have a terrible reload, 25 seconds. It's awful. It is going to be one of those tanks that you will hate to play and you also hate to come up against. And so why bother putting it in the game? Because all it's going to do is annoy a load of people, which I'm assuming will be quite a few of you guys if you have kind of seen what this tank's all about. As I say, I don't think this tank is going to be innately broken. You're not going to be seeing it like top tanks like the Dreadnought KV2. You're not going to be seeing it, you know, top of the leaderboards all the time. It's just yet another super boring vehicle that I wish Wargaming never made. And that is basically it. It's just one of those... it infuriates me that they introduce tanks like this, and you've been seeing it over and over and over again. All of these new tanks seem to be high alpha damage tanks with, you know, way over the normal tech tree vehicles that you can pick up at the tier, having, you know, almost 2 tiers higher alpha damage from TDs, for example. Yeah, it sucks entirely. But 12.5 degrees of gun compression mean that you're not going to have any AVRE issues with, or Centurion AVRE we should call it now. So yeah, that is yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with why Wargaming decided to make this one. And even if they developed it alongside the Centurion AVRE, I think given what had come out with the Centurion AVRE, the feedback that we got, I don't think they should have ran this one, or maybe they could have reduced just the alpha and made it a little bit more kind of, yeah, in line with some of the other alpha damages of the tier, bearing in mind that this is a heavy tank, if that makes sense, basically. It has, of course, the Churchill VII's actual hull armor, so it's reasonable at being able to side scrape. But yeah, if you want to pick this one up, and you want to be the first ones, it is in the game right now for 11,500 gold for the ultimate bundle. Bearing in mind this is a tier 7, it only earns 45% silver, which is still pretty good, but it isn't, you know, your traditional kind of premium tank, I guess. So yeah, it's not awful in terms of making silver, but this is the bundle that I usually would never really recommend because it comes with a load of stuff that you don't need, like the equipment, in which case they charge you the silver equivalent for, or the gold equivalent of converting silver or your gold to silver, if that makes sense. And that is where the price difference comes from. And most of the time you can play a couple games in Cold War or jump in some of your Cold War or World War II premiums that are really good at making credits, like the tanks that we've done recently, like the Ragnarok. And of course you can go back and check out those, and the Hydra 6. So yeah, either way, those are the tanks that you can kind of jump into if you're interested. Premium time, we've got 7 days and a load of boosters as well. But for me, I would not be purchasing this bundle if I was going to spend any money on the game. Then we have the loaded bundle. This comes with the tank, 7 days of premium and some boosters. If you really wanted the boosters, maybe this would be worth it for you. But primarily, I would just buy the tank, wait for the boosters to go on sale at 50%, and then you're not paying for the 7 days of premium premium time, which is just a weird thing to add into the package. I never really get why Wargaming add in like premium time into the bundles. It just seems like a way to inflate the gold cost and then charge you more gold and say that there's like a bigger discount basically, because you know they're basically taking the premium time days off and charging them at full price. But of course, maybe you don't actually want the premium days or the boosters. And so yeah, the gold value isn't necessarily reflective of that. So the best one for me is just purchasing the damn tank. 6,350 gold, much cheaper. You know, save yourself almost 50% off of the next lowest bundle, and of course nearly half the price of the top bundle. So yeah, definitely, in my opinion, just get the base version. Obviously, if you want the additional extras, do whatever you want with your money. But yeah, if I was going to recommend actually getting it. But of course, we'll do a full review on this tank in the game, and that will come out very, very soon. In fact, probably tomorrow, and then we'll continue with some of the tanks that we've been mentioning, like the Minotaur KV5 and stuff like that. But there is plenty more news as well going on this week that we can cover as well. So, Commander's War Chest, they have released these in World of Tanks console again, and Commander's War Chest, as the name implies, give you commanders. Whoa, surprise, surprise. And there are a ton of commanders that you can pick up in these. In my opinion, I have never bought any Commander War Chests, so yeah, there's, I don't know, not particularly that interesting. They have introduced them for gold in the store, so you can spend your gold on them if you want, and there is a counter where you can get a guaranteed 3D hero commander if you open 20 of them, which is essentially 8,000 gold. But most of their 3D hero commanders you can buy for about 4,000, something like that, I believe, maybe 4,500, something in that sort of region. So, 8,000 or 4,500 just to buy a 3D hero commander. Obviously, you get additional extras within the actual kind of crates themselves. You can get some boosters, you can get yourself some premium time, premium days, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, primarily you're getting commanders in the Commander's War Chests. Yeah, it is what it is. Nothing special there. But there is one thing that we can talk about that is kind of good, probably one of the better things of this, if you can call it good, which is the KV4 KTTS. This is a non-turreted tank destroyer that is a KV4. Imagine a KV4 that had not a turret and essentially relied upon kind of using its armor and being a faster firing kind of tank that can basically deal a lot of damage. A breakthrough tank destroyer, if you want to call it that. But the KV4 KTTS is a premium vehicle in the game already. You may have seen an alternate version of this tank in the Orthrus KV4 KTTS, which is like a skinned version. I think off the top of my head it's like orange or something like that. But either way, there are two versions of the tank. This is the one that you can actually get for free. Obviously, the free is dependent on whether or not you want to grind through all of these stages. But the stages are, as with always with these kind of operations, very boring. Very, very boring. And it is, of course, earn a ridiculous amount of XP. And yeah, by ridiculous amount, I mean in the region of about, if we can kind of total it up here, 412 for the final, 412,000 by the way for the final stage, 189,000 for the previous, so you're up to at least 600,000 right there. Then another 88,000, so 688,000, another 720,000, and yeah, you're probably looking in the region of about 750 to 780,000 XP to be able to get this free tank. So, in all honesty, if you don't want to spend an infinite amount of time playing the game, don't worry about getting this tank. Yeah, it isn't particularly insane. It's a fun, novel tank that I really enjoy playing, but if you aren't gonna want to spend probably 10-20 hours playing the game over the next until March 18th, then don't worry about it. It is, of course, a contract, so you've got quite a long time to do it, so it's kind of better, but at the same time, yeah, I think it could be something you might want to do. And obviously, if you aren't doing any of the contracts for the mercenary tanks, then you can just stick this on and do it in the background. So you never know, maybe you'll get it in the end. Obviously, if you already have the KV4 KTTS, you can still do the contract, but you will be rewarded in the silver equivalent, so 4.48 million silver, which is quite nice if you were just doing it for the silver. Each of the stages give you kind of rewards, mainly silver, or giving you like boosters and blah, 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 repair kits, that sort of stuff. And yeah, most people do these operations primarily for silver and boosters and stuff like that, so rather than the actual tanks. So yeah, it is there if you're interested, and a new free tank, and we'll do a review on it just so that you know what it's all about to decide whether or not it's actually worth going and spending your time to actually get. But that's not it. It seems like there's quite a bit this week, and I guess it's the kicking up of the first year in the World of Tanks console. But there is, of course, the best, well, I don't know anymore. This is the second best XP kind of operation that you can actually get within World of Tanks console. The best one being silver with interest, provided that you have XP boosters. So this is the best if you don't have XP boosters. If you do have XP boosters on your account, then the XP with interest is the better one. So yeah, that's kind of the two potential best ones. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, this is the best one for most players if you don't pay for boosters. But why is that? Well, that is because if you can consecutively win games, then you're able to essentially get more XP. So if you can win 5 games in a row, you can get up to 5 times XP. And from the first win, you'll get, your standard XP. The second win, you'll get double XP. The third win, you get 3 times XP. The fourth win, you get 4 times XP. And the fifth one, you get 5 times XP. Now, if you lose between these games, you'll get reset all the way back to number 1. So you have to play the first one and then go through and hopefully win multiple games in a row again to be able to get the XP. But if you're a seasoned player, this is where you can take advantage of your skill and your knowledge, blah, 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 to farm up vehicles very, very quickly. I jumped in this morning with a 5 times XP booster and with the 5 battles in a row winning them. And I was able to get in the region of about 30,000 XP in one game, and it wasn't even that good of a game. So yeah, it's pretty crazy how much XP you can get from one singular game, meaning that you can grind through an entire tier 8 tank in about 6 games if you were looking to just, use all of your maximal effort, maximal stuff, and you had the times 5 vehicle XP from the winning 5 battles, etc. So either way, it's good. It's out there. You can take advantage of it. It's available for a week until the 9th of January, which is next Tuesday. And of course, yeah, very, very good. Weekly challenges, you can get double silver for 5 times a day, and that's just by assisting with 500 or more damage in a game. If you penetrate 10 or more shots in a battle, you'll get a med kit, which you can get 5 times a day. Sweep the leg, assist with 1 or more damage due to immobilizing vehicles, you get 1.25 times silver, which is available 3 times per day. And then destroy 5 or more vehicles in any number of battles with a times 3 vehicle XP booster, and that's available 3 times a day. So not bad at all as kind of additional extras for playing the game. You still got the Metal Fest thing. We won't cover that. It's been done about 1 million times. And then the wallet savers. This is something Wargaming seems to be adding in now, which have a 30% discount on some of these weird vehicles that have been around for a while. Now, I don't know if this has replaced the personal offers. Apparently not. I've answered my own question there. But these are now the wallet savers, which have the tier 8 mercenary brick, which is not particularly the most interesting vehicle in the game. It's like a spaced armored IS-6 or something, I believe, something like that. It's not particularly fun to play. It isn't that great. It is just a bit boring. But it's there if you want it for 9,300 gold. You got the AMX M4 MLE 49, which was a free tank that we could have picked up as part of an earn operation. And I think it's been an earn operation and a reward for a season. So probably a lot of you already have this vehicle. If you don't already, then it's available for 8,400. And would I recommend it? potentially. I really enjoyed that tank. But yeah, other than that, I think it's okay. TCM AGS Detente Era 3 Western Alliance Light Tank. This is the auto-loading Detente Era 3 vehicle with 480 damage per shell, and has, I believe, like something like a 10-clip autoload, a 9-shot autoloader with 480 damage, meaning that you can deal, off the top of my head, I want to say 4,320 damage, something like that. So yeah, in a clip, which is kind of crazy. But it is very, very fun to play. I enjoyed playing it. Is it the most like pinnacle level of the Detente era in Era 3? Probably not, but you know, it's still a fun vehicle and potentially worth it for 10,000 gold. But other than that, January tank of the month, it's the T42. This is not particularly the most interesting tank and probably not the one that I would recommend getting as a bundle. It's not that interesting. I wouldn't be too bothered about picking this one up. Nothing special, but I mean, if you want to spend $9.99 on picking up a premium tank, 850 gold, and some premium time and silver boosters, be my guest. Otherwise, there is the weekly sales. We've got the 3x vehicle XP boosters. They are on sale with a 58% saving, so not bad. And then the weekly deal on the King Tiger. So yeah, you can pick that one up as well for 7,100 gold at a 50% saving. So pretty good saving there. And then you've got the super savings, so these are like the personal offers, and you can pick up the Super Hellcat Tank Destroyer for 50% off, which is pretty good, and all you have to do is earn 8,000 XP within when you log on in the game for the next week, and then if you earn 20,000, you unlock the ability to buy the Urban Steel Hero skin for the Super Hellcat, so you can buy that alongside. And then the final one is the Tier 6 Absolution Heavy Tank for getting 40,000 XP with a 50% silver discount, so you can pick those up if you're interested. Either way, best ones there, kind of both the Super Hellcat and the Absolution are pretty fun tanks to play. So yeah, I wouldn't be against getting either of them, and they'll be fairly cheap because they're tier 7 and tier 6. So yeah, either way, not bad. And then it is, of course, the finale of the Resolution season, where you can get a free Calliope T34, which should be coming out at the end of the month. So that'll be cool. And of course, the more seasons that you've completed, the more of a discount that you'll get for the actual tank itself. Obviously, if you've only completed one season or no seasons, you'll end up with either a 0% if you haven't like a 0% discount, that is. And then, of course, if you've completed one season, then you get a 20% discount. And then if you complete consecutive seasons all the way up to 100%, you will get the discounts. So yeah, not bad at all. And then, of course, tanks and war chest, double tap, blah, blah, blah. Everything as usual, still going on. So yeah, hopefully that was a decent kind of run through of the news for this week on World of Tanks console. Let me know what you actually think of the new Churchill AVRE, as I'm sure that will be the kind of biggest bone of contention from everyone in the comment section. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what you think of the 165mm gun for the Churchill AVRE. But other than that, hopefully you have had a fantastic new year. And hopefully you continue to have one, and join me back in another video soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.